Very good evening to all of you. Now, today onwards, we'll learn some basic part of the Linux, and after that, we'll start the actual command line work. So, it is the most important thing to understand the basic concept of Linux, how it works, what are the different kinds of parts are available. We'll do, and what are the different kinds of flavors are available, and how we'll do that. We also check that. Okay. So, in that syllabus, we're trying to evaluate Linux terminology. In that, we'll discuss about what is a kernel, what is the role of kernel, how many file systems are available, like in Windows, anti-FS is there. But similarly, kernel in Linux, what are the different kinds of file systems are available? What is the partition and file system? What is the boot process, and what is the BIOS? So this is the very basic Linux terminology to understand each and every student, because everything will be depend on this part. Okay, if you are trying to create some user, the kernel part will be available. If you are trying to create some space, or we can say that partition, file system and partition will be included. If you are trying to log in into the Linux, the booting process and BIOS will be included. That means each and every student must understand the concept of Linux terminology. And once we complete the Linux terminology, we will learn about the Linux file system, various kinds of Linux file system. After that, we'll learn about the some package management system. For example, just I will show you. I will show you 1 minute. Package management system, for example, we all know that we already discussed about the concept of open source. And in the package management system, we need to understand how the different kinds of flow will be work. For example, let's say we have the operating system Ubuntu. Let's say we have the operating system called as a Fedora. Okay, these all are the flavors of Linux. And let's say the package system like SUSE. These are the different major partition the flavors of OS, and how will it work. For example, if you're trying to install one package, if you're trying to install some VLC player, okay, we all know that VLC player is a media player. By using that, we can watch the videos. Okay, if you're trying to install this VLC player, there are different package system. For example, if you want to use Ubuntu, then we need to run apt-get command. We'll discuss about that, don't worry. Okay, so Fedora, if you want to use the Fedora, then we need to use the high level package as a yum, and in SUSE Zyper is there. Okay. So like that, we need to understand this concept. So we'll do all the basic related to this package management system later on. Okay. So after that, we'll learn some command line operation. In that, how we locate the files, directory. We'll discuss about the file directory and other thing. How will view the files, how will view the directory, how will do the user related operation. For example, if you want to add the user into the system, you are handling the administrator related work to the reputed company. In that, once the hiring process is done, in that case you need to create a certain amount of user. After that, we need to create a space. Like that user related operation, we need to provide the permissions to the particular file, to the particular directory. We need to handle this using user operation and file operation. Once we did the ownership, okay, file operation will be done. And after that, at the last session, we need to handle the volume mount and unmount. Okay, so like that stuff. Once we completed, then we'll handle the process chapter, and that will learn about the ps command, top command and htop command. Once we complete the process, we'll handle the shell scripting, cron tab, tar, grep, find. Okay, so like that stuff we'll do one by one. It took some 10 days to handle the basic Linux level activities, and once we completed the Linux level activities, we'll handle advanced level activities. Okay, now let's start today's session. In that, first we'll do the Linux terminology. In the Linux terminology, it is mandatory to understand the kernel. Okay, so like in Microsoft OS, there is a bootloader is concept, or we can say that MBR is there. So similarly, we need to understand the concept of kernel, how the kernel will deal. Okay, for example, I'm trying to create one command, I'm trying to create a file, I'm trying to add the user. Who is the responsible to handle these requests? Okay, I have resources as a random access memory. We all know that if it is a computer, for example, I have a laptop or computer. I have a laptop or computer. In that, I have several resources are there. For example, I have a random access memory. For example, I have a processor. For example, I have we can say that drive, or we can say that space HDD, or we can say that SDD. We can say that space is there. Other resources, for example, I have some called as a printer is there. Okay, other resources, keyboard is there, camera is there. So these are the resources. So we can say that if we have a computer or laptop, certain amount of resources are there, and for that we need to handle, that means kernel need to handle this hardware with software. So these resources, for example, my application wants to use the camera. So first of all, I will request that camera to the kernel. Kernel will check whether that camera is useful use right now. If it is a freely available, that means if it is a, there is a no one access to the camera, at that time kernel will issue. That means these resources are required. These resources are most useful thing. These resources are most useful thing, and that will be handled by the kernel. So you will get the some uh, overlook idea for that. Let's do the brief idea regarding that. Kernel is a brain of OS. What is OS? OS is nothing but operating system. That means without kernel we cannot able to do the operation. Without kernel we cannot able to do the operation. For that the kernel is required. Okay, and it work as a brain. We all know that a human have a brain, and brain has a lots of functionality. For example, I want to walk. Okay, so suppose if you want to walk, then brain instruct a particular leg, so you can walk like that stuff. A brain is a responsible, that means a kernel is responsible to handle the operating system. See, this is a theoretical lecture, so you will get some board type, but this concept will ask in the interview. Okay, for example, they will ask what is the role of kernel. In that case, we need to specify a kernel is a hardware. A kernel it controls the hardware and makes that hardware interact with your application. What is the application? For example, your calculator is application. For example, Microsoft Paint is your application. For example, VLC is your application. And what are the resources are required to that application to execute that application or to work or to run that application? Everything will be provided by the kernel, and such a type of question will be asked in the interview. So make a note of that. We need to specify the answer. If someone asks regarding the kernel, what is the role of kernel, what is a kernel, what is the role of kernel, if they ask, then we can specify it controls the hardware and makes that hardware interact with your application. Okay, for example, here I will show you in the PPT. So this one is your computer, this one is your keyboard, assume that, and assume that this one is a hardware. So in that hardware, certain just one display, assume that, and this one is your hardware. In that something CPU is there, processor is there, random access memory is there, okay, and other resources are there. Okay. And for that your application, we require to use that application. We need to execute that application. Okay. So assume that this one is your app. Now we're trying to execute that application, and for that application we required RAM, we required a processor. Here I will use only PRO processor. We required HDD space, and we required a camera. Execute that application, we required certain amount of that resources. So in that case, assume that this one is OS. That application will be executed on OS. We all know that every application will be executed on OS. Okay, so this one is OS. So in that case, the OS will be responsible to execute the application with the help of kernel. With the help of kernel. The help of kernel. So assume that this one is kernel. So in that case, the kernel is responsible to execute the application. It will be communicate on behalf of OS. Okay, so it will communicate RAM, it will communicate processor, it will communicate hard drive, it will communicate with camera, and that particular application will be executed. So this is the process. So that's why here I say that it controls the hardware and makes that hardware interact with application. Okay, for example, if application required a camera and the camera is busy with another application, in that case, kernel will wait for that. Okay, once the task completed, then it will reallocate the camera working with your application. Make a note of that. That means it will communicate with. Okay, simply. The kernel is responsible for memory management. I already told that. Memory management means random access memory. It is responsible for the task management and disk management. That means HDD. Okay. So all the resources will be responsible with kernel. So this is about the kernel. If anyone asks regarding what is a kernel, what is the role of kernel, then in that case we need to specify kernel is used to control the hardware and makes that hardware interact with. That's it. Now we'll discuss about different kinds of file system. Okay. So why we require this? Why we require this? In future, we need to suppose file system. Assume that this is your HDD and that hard disk divided into several partitions. This hard disk is divided into several partitions. Okay. Now we need to allocate space to the particular user in your reputed company or MNC company. Lots of users are there. Assume that these are the user and they require to use a space. They require to use a space. For that we required a file system because the partition will not create without a file system. That means here we need to specify which type of space you are creating. I can say that ext3. What is ext? Extension 3. It is a file format. It will specify what kind of storage, what kind of minimum file, what kind of maximum file will be stored in this space. Similarly, there is a NTFS is there. Similarly, ext is there. Similarly, ext3 is there. Or for ext3 is there. Similarly, XFS there is there. So just make a note of that. What is the role of file system? File system is nothing but just way to storing the area. मतलब which way by using we are storing the data. So like that we have ext3, NTFS, XFS, ext2, ext3. Lots of systems are available, and we'll discuss with Windows. When we talk about the Windows, see, I will show you. For example, I'm trying to format my system. Then it will show what kind of formats are available. Right? Click on that, and here we have format option. We have format option. See, in that it will show the file system. I have 219 GB of SSD solid state drive. In that I have this option called as NTFS because while installing the operating system I choose NTFS. I choose NTFS. When we talk about the pen drive, we have two options. NTFS is there and FAT format is there. NTFS is there and FAT format is there. Make a note of that. Similarly, just we need to specify the how many ways are available, that by using that we can do the format. Just simple. It's quite simple. Okay. So like that, just here we specify. So it is the method of storing and organizing file. ये भी क्वेश्चन इंटरव्यू में पूछा जाता है कि व्हाट इज अ फाइल सिस्टम. एंड इसमें ना थोड़ा सा क्यूरी होता है कि स्टूडेंट कंफ्यूज होते हैं कि फाइल सिस्टम और पार्टीशन में डिफरेंस क्या है. सी मेक अ नोट ऑफ दैट. Just file system is used to specify, or it is a method of storing and organizing file. Okay, for example, NTFS is there. All the NTFS files will be related, will be stored into that folder. fat is there, fat will be stored in that folder, and it has some rules and regulation. That means when I am trying to store the file and the file size is a 20 GB, then we cannot able to store the file inside that file system. Okay, make a note of that. Just it is a way of storing and organizing files. Okay, different kinds of file systems supported by the Linux. Here there are four different kinds or categories of file systems supported by the uh, Linux operating system. We can compare with Windows. Don't worry about that. Just 1 minute. Okay, we can compare with Linux operating system. Don't worry. So, for example, conventional method is there, flash storage is there, database is there, and special purpose is there. These are the main four categories where we can use in the Linux, and we are trying to use only conventional. Okay, for basic Linux administrator level, L1 and L2, just we are using the conventional method, and for advanced level, we are using a flash method and special purpose. So in that conventional method, we are trying to use ext2, ext2 as extension to ext3 is there, ext4 is there, xf is there, ptrfs is there, jf is there, and ntfs. When we talk about the Windows, we have two options only, ntfs and fat format. ओके, अगर आपको चेक करना है तो आप पेन ड्राइव इंसर्ट करो, राइट क्लिक करो, फॉर्मेट करो, मतलब प्रोसेस के लिए क्लिक करो, आपको दो ऑप्शन दिखाई देंगे, एक तो एनटीएफएस रहेगा एंड सेकंड वन इज अ fat format is there. But in the conventional method of Linux, we have bunch of options. Okay, so for example, I'm trying to install the OS, then I will choose ext4. I will show you each and every point. I will show you. When I'm trying to use the install the OS, then I can use XFS also. Okay, so these are the file systems are used in the Linux. Flash storage के लिए UBFS है, JFF है, YAFF है, special purpose के लिए proxy FS है, sysfs है, temp FS है, and debug FS है. Okay, file system. These are the file systems. Make a note on that. Now, when we talk about the partition, see, there is a difference between file system and partition, and here I specified that partition is a logical part of the disk. File system is not a logical part of the disk, but partition is a logical part of disk, where a file system is a method of storing and finding files on a hard drive. That means just we can say that which type of file will be stored in a particular logical part will be handled by the file system, and only logical part will be called as a partition. Okay, just I will illustrate this by using example. Assume that this one is your hard drive, and just I'm trying to divide this hard drive into multiple logical disks. Now I have these partitions. So here I will mention partition. Here I will mention partition as a 2. I will mention partition as a 3. Here I will mention partition as a 4. Last one, here I will mention partition as 5. See, I have that disk and I have that disk, and I'm trying to convert this disk into partition. That means just I specified that a partition is a logical part of the disk. So I have these 5 logical part of the disk. This is about the partition. Now we're trying to use file system. Now file system is what? Just I will show. So these are the file system. So सभी एक हो सकते हैं या कुछ अलग अलग हो सकते हैं. Don't worry about that. For example, here I'm using ext4. Here I'm using xfs. Using ext4. 4 again and XFS. So this one is a file system and this one is your hard drive. Okay, it will be converted into logical part, and this way this file system specify only ext4 related properties will be allowed in partition 1. XFS related properties will be allowed in partition 2. ext4 related properties will be allocated in partition 3. ext2 related property will be allocated in 4, and XFS will be allocated in 4. That means this is the way by using that we can store and we can organize the file. Okay, here by we can choose the Google. Just I will show you ext2 file system. So in that, just you will get the ext2 related information. See, you can check the file system also. Click on that option. See, ext2 second extended file system is a file system in Linux kernel. It was initially designed for French software developer, and some rules and regulations are available. So what kind of file will be stored, what is the size, how the file will be organized, why, how many inodes are available, what are the blocks are available. This information will be stored in the file system. According to that, we need to choose the file system. Just it will it will specify what kind of and how the file will be organized, how it will be stored. Okay, so inode is a one concept in that the directory representation information will be stored. So similarly, you can check for the XFA. Similarly, you can check for the ext3. Similarly, you can check for the ext4. Okay, so by using that we can do the operations. Make a note. Okay, a comparison between file system and Windows. See, Linux will support file system, Windows will support partition. Okay, I will show you. So when we talk about the partition, Windows के अंदर disks होते हैं. Okay, just I will show you. Okay, so these are the disks. Disk 1, disk 2, having name C and D. सो इन द पार्टीशन लिनक्स के अंदर यहाँ ऐसे होता है स्लैश डेव स्लैश एस डी ए ओके एस डी ए वन एस डी ए टू एस डी स्लैश डेव विल डिस्कस अबाउट द स्लैश डेव इज नथिंग बट डिवाइसेस in that the disk are stored. Okay, if you have two disks then it will show sda1 and sda2. If you have only one disk then it will show sda1 only. Okay, so ये difference क्यों बता रहा हूँ because हमें इस पे काम करना है अभी. ओके, सो मेक अ नोट ऑफ दैट. विंडोज पार्टीशन में डिस्क टाइप में होते हैं, लिनक्स में फाइल सिस्टम टाइप में होते हैं. When we talk about the file system type, here Windows supports NTFS and FAT32. I already discussed with you. NTFS will be supported and FAT32. When we talk about the Linux, ext2, ext3, ext4, XFS and so on. Okay, conventional method में हमने जितने भी देखे थे ये पूरा Linux support करता है. माउंटिंग पैरामीटर इट विल बी माउंट ऑन ड्राइव लेटर. ओके, अभी हमने देखा था कि ये ड्राइव लेटर पे माउंट होता है. फॉर एग्जांपल सी ड्राइव, डी ड्राइव, लाइक दैट स्टफ, बट इट विल बी माउंट ऑन द माउंट पॉइंट. लिनक्स के अंदर स्लैश पार्टीशन ही होता है या सब डायरेक्टरीज होता है जिस पे ही माउंट होता है. बेस फोल्डर where OS is stored. In the Windows, we all know that everything will be stored in a C drive. Okay, where Linux everything will be stored on slash. लिनक्स के अंदर ना पूरा स्लैश पे ही स्टोर होता है. जैसे जैसे हम आगे चल के प्रैक्टिकल्स करेंगे, ओके, फॉर एग्जांपल कैट है, टैक है या एनी अदर कमांड, आपको ये क्लियर हो जाएगा कि कैसे वर्क होता है. जस्ट आई विल शो यू. वी हैव VMware. Okay, we already installed that OS. We are logging into that system, so we're trying to do the operation. done. Now here we will click on that option and trying to search the terminal. That terminal we can do the operations, all operation on that terminal. And just I will show you cd slash c. This one is a slash. Now we are at slash. Okay. So इसके अंदर ये bin dev. Now we are trying to discuss. Root is there, proc is there, media, home folder is there, etc configuration file is there, booted file is there, devices are there, binary, sbin, cd-rom, all the files are available on slash. Okay. So that's why यहाँ base folder where OS is stored in Linux is slash. Take a note of that. आपको चेक करना है, जस्ट यू नीड टू यूज cd change directory slash present working directory pwd कमांड होती है जो प्रेजेंट वर्किंग डायरेक्टरी दिखाता है। तो ये आपको दिखाई देगा कि आप कहाँ हो, यहाँ आपको दिखाई देगा ओनली वी आर एट स्लैश। So don't worry about that cd ls pwd how will deal that, don't worry about that, I will cover each and every part. Okay, just make a note of that, we are now at slash folder. Okay. Now Linux file system कैसे वर्क होता है? So in that slash means root directory होता है, the root as hierarchy, in that all the operation will be stored. After that root एक user होता है, okay, main user. Okay, so normally we have a lots of user, among that the main user is root and working directory of root is slash root. Just for understanding याद रखना है आपको, slash means where OS is installed. This one is a main root as a user. Okay, it has highest privileges. Okay, इसको कोई restriction नहीं होता है, कहाँ भी ये जा सकता है system के अंदर. It has higher privileges and slash root is there. That means the working directory of. Now we'll discuss about the Linux directory structure. जैसे मैंने बताया था स्लैश के अंदर क्या होता है, where we store the all the OS related files and here slash root के अंदर these are the files are available. Okay, so जैसे भी हम ये open करते हैं, see in that just when we press ls command is used for list out क्या है आपके अंदर. So like bin is there, we'll discuss about that, what is the role of bin, what is the role of dev, what is the role of etc, what is the role of root, server, user, variable, proc, option, everything we'll discuss about it. Okay, so this one is a root directory, slash bin, slash root, slash dev, slash etc, slash home, slash lib, slash media, slash mnt, option, root, like that stuff. Okay, so let's discuss about that. See here, I will share that ppt with you, don't worry, and I will share a video also so you can revise that session repeatedly. So slash bin means what? Essential user commands, binary files. Okay, for example, I want to create a user, then binary file, bin file will be available. Okay, so just I will show you one demo for that. For example, there is one command called as a man. Okay, so by using that command, it will specify why we require that command. For example, I want to find out the information related to cat command. So man stands for manual page. Man stands for manual page. It will collect all the information regarding the command, and this cat is a command. Okay, so when we click on that, see, cat command is used to concatenate the file and print the on the standard output. Just I will show you the demo. Okay, so this is a man command. Just I want to find out what is the location of man command, where is it is placed. So for that, just I will use which command. So it will specify slash user slash bin slash man. So here is a bin folder. Here is a bin folder. In that bin folder, man page is there. So that's why I say that bin is essential user commands. जितने भी आपके user related commands है ना, ये bin folder के अंदर available होंगे. Don't worry about that. Bin folder के अंदर ये अवेलेबल होंगी. Okay. So similarly, slash boot booting related file जितने भी आपके boot related information that will be placed in slash boot. Okay. Slash dev जैसे हमने disk related बताया था slash dev slash sda. So disk related devices related जितने भी files है ये slash dev के अंदर होगी. Slash etc जो बहुत important है हमारे लिए. This is the most important file used in the Linux and most repeatedly used file slash etc. इसके अंदर क्या होता है कॉन्फ़िगरेशन फाइल्स होता है फॉर एग्जांपल डिस्क की फाइल है और फॉर एग्जांपल आई वांट टू सेट अप अ नेटवर्क फॉर एग्जांपल आई वांट टू स्टार्ट सम सर्विसेज फॉर एग्जांपल आई वांट टू डू सम चेंजेस इन कॉन्फ़िगरेशन फाइल एवरीथिंग विल बी अवेलेबल इन स्लैश ईटीसी और ये मेजरली यूज होता है फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू वांट टू चेक हाउ मेनी यूजर्स आर देयर फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू वांट टू चेक हाउ मेनी ग्रुप्स आर देयर for example if you want to check the shadow file password related file everything will be available configuration related all the files will be available in slash etc so make a note of that slash bin is important file slash etc all the important files are available all the files are the important but among that mostly used file slash bin is there slash etc is there slash home is there and slash user is there. Okay, usr file. So these are the most important file. Home means what? For example, if I allocated space to the particular user, then home directory will be created. Home directory will be created. Okay, so just I will show you cd slash home. Right now just I will check ls how many users are available. Only one directory is available ubuntu because I created only one user. When I trying to add some user, just I will show you. So don't worry about that command, just I'm showing for demo purpose. And then my name I will add sudo add user and my name. Click on that. So here I will add the name of the password. Just I will add again, add anything. Yes. Now just I will click on the ls. See, now the home directory for new user is created. That means whenever we add the user, the directory will be created. Now whenever trying to log in user, Arvind जब भी log in करेगा उसके जितने भी files होंगे that will be placed in the Arvind folder. Okay, so that's why home folder is also important. Slash home related information. Lib some libraries are there and that will be stored in a lib folder. Media mount point mnt माउंट पॉइंट टेम्पररी माउंट पॉइंट पेन ड्राइव अगर लगाते हो तो उसे माउंट करने के लिए हम एमएनटी यूज करते हैं. ऑप्शन इन दैट एप्लीकेशंस आर अवेलेबल सिस्टम लाइब्रेरीज सिस्टम बाइनरीज सर्वर्स टेम्पररी फाइल्स. ओके, यहाँ लॉग मेंशन होता है. मेक अ नोट ऑफ दैट यूजर var root and proc. So among that just useful information slash bin is there slash etc is there slash home is there slash user is there and slash root is there. So इससे अंदर हम स्ट्रक्चर से यूजफुल इंफॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट करते हैं. Now another point, package management system. This is the most important chapter or most important area regarding that. We have lots of flavor available in the Linux. So in that there are two package level management systems. First one is a high level package management system and second one is a low level package management system. So for example, why we require this? For example, if you are trying to install any application inside your Linux OS, then we require this high level package and low level package. We require this high level package and low level package. Without high level and low level, we cannot able to do the operation. For example, I want to create some file, then that file command, that means cat command, is applicable for Debian family, is applicable for SUSE family, is applicable for Fedora family. Yes, cat command will be executed on all these family. But when user wants to trying to install any application inside the Linux operating system, in that case, according to family, then they need to use the applications. Let's do that. Yum, करते हैं. So let's discuss about that. First of all, we'll list out the flavors and after that we'll organize. List out the flavors of Linux. How many flavors are available? So first of all, I will use Ubuntu. At Ubuntu. Fedora is there. Debian is there. CentOS is there. That SUSE is there. So बहुत सारे हैं, but among that just I have listed these flavors. So इनको numbers देते हैं 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the flavors. Assume that these are the flavors. Okay. Now इसके बारे में हम अब discuss करेंगे. There are two kinds of packages. First one is a high level package. Second one is a low level. So just I will specify the difference in between high and low. Okay. Suppose user wants to install VLC player. What is VLC? It is a video editor, or we can say video player is there, and I want to install this VLC player on all the OS. Okay. For that, we require to use some commands. Okay. So I want to use a VLC player. When I trying to use VLC player by using high, okay, high level package management system, in that case, if a certain application required two or three more application, and that application I don't want to mention, okay, suppose VLC player मुझे इंस्टॉल करना है, बट ये इंस्टॉल करने से पहले आपको 2 से 3 एप्लीकेशन पहले इंस्टॉल करना पड़ेगा. Okay, so आपको इंस्टॉल करने हैं. Assume that you need to install that two to three different kinds of application. In that case, when I trying to install VLC player by using high, automatically rest of application, or we can say that dependent application. Here I will use a word, dependent application, automatically install. Automatically install dependent application. But when I trying to install VLC player by using low level, in that case, dependent application will not install. 2, 3, will not install. नॉट इंस्टॉल. ये डिफरेंस होता है हाई एंड लो में. सो मैक्सिमम जो फ्रेशर्स होते हैं या L1 है या L2 है, वो क्या करते हैं कि पर्टिकुलर एप्लीकेशन अगर इंस्टॉल करना है तो हाई लेवल पैकेज यूज करते हैं. बिकॉज हाई लेवल पैकेज क्या करता है, व्हेन आई ट्राइंग टू इंस्टॉल एनी एप्लीकेशन बाय यूजिंग हाई एप्लीकेशन, हाई लेवल पैकेज मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम, इन दैट केस डिपेंडेंट एप्लीकेशन ऑटोमेटिकली इंस्टॉल. But when I trying to use low level package management system, in that case dependent application will not install. That is the difference. That's it. अब इसके अंदर हाई लेवल और लो लेवल के कैटेगराइज करने से पहले इंपॉर्टेंट पैकेज सिस्टम्स कौन से. ओके, हाई लेवल के अंदर इंपॉर्टेंट है एपीटी गेट. हाई लेवल के बारे में डिस्कस करना है. आफ्टर दैट एम इज देयर. After that, three major families. Zapper is there. High level important package. When we talk about the low level package management system, in that DPKG is there and RPM is there. That's it. अब इनको categorize हम करेंगे. Make a note of that. apt-get is a high level package, yum is a high level package, and Zyper is. That means when I'm trying to install any application with high level packages, in that case dependent application will be automatically installed. Just I will show you with demo also. Right now it is not possible because you don't know the single command. When I'm trying to install different kinds of commands, at that time I will show you. Okay. And low level package system, when I trying to use install VLC player by using DPKG and RPM, in that case Dependent application will not install. Dependent application will not install. Make a note of that. Okay. So अभी इसे categorize करना है flavors के साथ में. So Ubuntu का high level package कौन सा है? So just low level package कौन सा है? dpkg. That means by using these two application we can install the application. When we talk about the Debian का क्या होता है high level? apt happen get. Low level क्या होता है? dpkg. Fedora का क्या है high level package? yum. लो लेवल क्या है? रेड हैट का हाई लेवल पैकेज कौन सा है? यम. लो लेवल कौन सा है? आरपीएम. सेंटोस का क्या है? अगेन यम. लो लेवल का क्या है? आरपीएम. सुजे का क्या है? सुजे का राइपर. व्हाट अबाउट लो लेवल पैकेज? आर. ओके, सो ये डिस्टिंग्विश एंड डिफरेंस है. अब मुझे फॉर एग्जांपल जस्ट आई वांट टू इंस्टॉल an application called as a vim. It is an editor. जस्ट आपको प्रैक्टिस पर्पस के लिए मैं ये बता रहा हूँ. Now my task is I want to install editor as a high level package in Ubuntu. What should I do? I will use apt-get install vim. This is the command by using that I get install. Suppose I want to install vim into the Red Hat, or we can say that Fedora. What should I do? I will use vim install and the name of file is vim. Suppose I want to install the vim Zyper. In that case, yes. Ankar, is there any query? So in that, suppose Zyper is used, Zyper install. Like that high level package I can able to install, and just if you want to check the demo, then I will show you. Here I can show you only for Ubuntu. Okay, make a note of that. So sudo is a super user. I will show you, and I will discuss about sudo also. And it is mandatory to use before the command. If you're trying to install using a normal user, if you're trying to install by using root, then there is a no need to mention sudo. Okay, sudo apt-get or just click on that. Right now my files are locked. Okay, there is an internet connectivity problem, but I will solve that issue, and just you will get also that issue. Okay, so ये files जो होते हैं ना, ये lock files उसे remove करना पड़ता है. Just I will remove that. Now I'm trying to install that. Just 1 minute. Yes, I will trying to see. I get that message. Okay, so by using this method, we can trying to install that particular file, and we can install that application. Similarly, high-level package systems are available, and in that file system we can install. When we talk about the low-level management system, just we need to use just dpkg instead of that apt-get. Just we need to use dpkg install. By using that, we can able to do that. Okay, so just file install. Here we need to use dpkg. That's it. After that, we need to use vr. Okay, so like that, we can try to install. Okay, don't worry about that. There is a pipe and everything we'll discuss about how we'll do that. Just make a note of that. By using this way, we can try to install our application. Okay. So this is about what today's lecture. So hope so you will get the idea. And from tomorrow lecture, we'll start the actual command line operations. Switch, varies, locate. We'll do lots of operation. Weaving files, cat, tag, tail, like that. Right now, if I have any query, let me know about that. We'll discuss about that and we'll close the session. Does anyone have query regarding? Ankar, unmute yourself. Wait. Is it I'm audible? Wait. Adesh.